When it comes to internet business tools, I'm pretty loose with my wallet. But when it comes to promoting things to my audience, I've got to be really sure that they are worth the money, or I lose my reputation and then I lose my income. So everybody wins here. There is one tool that I have used, but I've always felt like it was too expensive to actually promote to my audience. It's worth it to me, but is it worth it to the average blogger? The tool is called CoSchedule's Headline Studio. It's really cool and I love it. But I blog at scale, so a small improvement in the headline can be easy money for me. For a new blogger, not so much. But we're going to do an experiment in this video where I'm going to actually test some old headlines and I'm going to rewrite them with the Headline Studio. And then I'm going to give it 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to see if they've improved and if they've improved enough to be worth the relatively high price tag. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Nate McAllister. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you want additional videos 2 to 3 times a week. They're gonna help you become a better affiliate marketer. All right, let's get into the testing. Okay, this is Headline Studio. If you've never used it, it's really very cool. It's a web-based software that lets you test out different headlines and then it gives you a grade on them. It also gives you an SEO score. So it tells you the keyword quality, keyword density, average monthly searches. It's pretty cool. This is definitely not what I use for my keyword research, but it's a cool feature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into one of my biggest sites, entreresource.com. I'm gonna find some blog posts that have relatively low CTRs, but also get a lot of impressions. That's gonna make it easier to see the changes that are actually happening. If I choose something that has low impressions, it's gonna take forever to really get any results from this test. So I'm gonna go with something that's already getting a lot of impressions and see if we can turn that into clicks, hopefully within 2 to 3 weeks. I don't love doing these videos that take so long, very impatient, but it's gonna be a good video. All right, so let's get started. What I wanna do first is head into Google Search Console. I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. Google Search Console is the absolute best free tool for bloggers on the planet. Thank God Google doesn't charge us for it, because if they did, I would pay whatever they ask. It's so insightful when you're trying to find out what is happening with your website inside of Google search engines. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to find a page that has a lot of impressions, but not a ton of clicks. So I have several posts that I've created that don't have much value to me. Sometimes I'll write and I'll just accidentally have something that catches on, and it catches on kind of for the wrong reasons. So this first post is called How to See Private Instagrams. Probably mostly just creepy guys trying to view the Instagrams of celebrities and models that have private accounts. So I don't really care at all about this article. So it will be the first one that we use in this because it gets a crazy amount of impressions, more impressions than it should. So just for this one keyword, that article gets 52,000 impressions for the last 90 days, 4,329 clicks to that keyword. So we can definitely work with this. And again, if it doesn't pan out, that's okay. That's one of the luxuries of having this post, is that it doesn't really matter to me if it tanks. Also, if people watching this, go ahead and you can steal this article if you want. It's not really worth much unless you have AdSense and display ads running on your site. So let's go ahead here and filter by page. That's going to be the top one, obviously. 56,000 clicks over the last 90 days. The only problem with optimizing this article is that it already has a crazy high CTR. 6.9% is really good. Like that's very good, especially with that many impressions. And the average position is at 7. So I'm going to snag a little picture of this so that I can reference this, because this is going to be our base point. We're going to see everything starting on this date, what happens, and then we're going to put all that into a spreadsheet so we can track the improvements or decreases that happen as a result of our changes. So let's jump back into that article that we know we're going to start with. The headline is pretty solid. I spent a little bit of time when I wrote it originally, but I didn't use any tools like CoSchedule Headline Analyzer. So let's go ahead and copy that title, and then let's jump into the Headline Studio and plug it in and see what the score is right out of the gate. Let's just see what that 5 ninja level tricks. Okay, so they gave it a 74. That's not bad. By default, if I get a 74 for something that I wasn't using this tool on, that's pretty good for me. Now I can always get above that if I'm using the tool. As you see here, it's showing all the different things that are in it that are causing it to have that score. Common words, emotional words, uncommon words. And then most important to me is the SEO stuff here. I want to make sure that it's showing up for the right keywords because we need that search intent. I think that's one shortcoming of this tool is that it actually isn't always the best fit for every single type of article. So for example, all of the scores on this one, almost all of them, except for this guy who literally stole my title. I'll have to look into that. Why did he steal my article entirely? Thief. But the only one that scored high is that one. Nothing else scored above a 65. So I don't think that this is the type of article like, say, a tabloid headline that needs to be catchy. I don't think it's necessarily as important. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on if their score really has an impact in any meaningful way on these tutorial type articles or not. All right, now for the fun part, let's go ahead and start toying around with this and see if we can improve the score. Let's add just the word fast. See what happens. Ooh, didn't help. All right, let's try something else. Maybe we change the word tricks to ways. Okay, so they don't like us being tricky. So that bumped it up by 2. Let's see if we can get this thing going. Let's check out Ninja level. I'm gonna try to avoid changing any of the core keywords like view a private Instagram account needs to stay. So let's see if they like the word easy. Yeah, oh yeah, they love that. 5 easy ways to view an private Instagram account. Let's see if we can go a little bit further. Let's get a little bit sexier here. 5 quick and easy ways. The only problem with this is that it kind of puts that keyword a little too far. Oh, but they love it. Puts that main keyword a little bit too far away. It should appear fine. I don't want it to get truncated in search engines. But let's go ahead. Let's use this one. So I'm going to copy all this data that I have, the URL, the new headline, the old headline, and I'm going to put it into that spreadsheet, and then we'll put it into the actual WordPress site. All right, now let's go into WordPress and let's just go ahead and add this new headline. It is now live, and we have updated it not only in WordPress, but also here inside the spreadsheet. A couple things I thought were important, like average position, and I put a little picture in there of the actual before statistics, and that is all that we need. Now we're gonna find some more. You don't need to watch this part because this is gonna take me quite a while, but I will be back and I will show you all the articles before, and then we will fast forward a couple weeks and see where we're at. All right, so it took about an hour, but I got 6 really good tests done. All of them were optimized by at least about 10 points on everything. A few were a little bit more, a few were maybe a little bit less. But I want to do one more in here that is going to be a video. I have a feeling that it might actually do a little bit better. So let's go ahead and find one of my more popular videos. I have one that, again, doesn't really do much for me as far as profits go. So I'm going to test with this one as the meta test. Set number of days, we'll do 14. Not going to change that. I'm going to keep the old tags. The only thing I want to change is the title. So the title is how to create professional looking Excel spreadsheets. Let's open up Headline Studio real quick. See what they have to say about that. So that one is not very good. All right, so that is a nice bump. Let's check the SEO score. So actually the SEO score went down, so I don't love that. I don't want to do that. Oh well, we'll try it. This will be the one that the SEO score went down. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I'm not going to mess with anything else. Start test. All right, so that is live. I will see y'all in a couple of weeks.
One eternity later.
What is up, guys? All right, it's been almost 3 weeks. It's November 29th today. It's funny because I've literally actually moved into a new office since we started filming this, and my eyesight left, so I had to get new glasses. No, I'm just kidding. These are just for the screen. That'd be crazy if yeah, whatever. All right, so let's get into it. I am a little bit nervous. I've peeked into them throughout the test a little bit, but we're going to go through each one and see where we're actually at, good or bad. I promise to show you exactly what happened with these changes. So let's go ahead and get into my computer. All right, here we are inside of our Notion spreadsheet that we made. It's looking pretty good. You know, I love Notion, you guys. If you want a cool note-taking and organizing app, Notion's pretty cool. It's pretty cheap for how cool it is. All right, so let's start here. Let's go ahead and copy this URL. That's the one thing I had to make sure of when I updated these, was to get them re-indexed quickly so that they were scraped so that the changes were actually seen. If I didn't do that, it wasn't going to reflect anything. It was going to mess up this whole test. It wouldn't have really been worth anything. So this one, let's go ahead and put in page. I'll just go ahead and paste that URL there. Last 3 months, what we need to do is compare. So let's start by comparing the date right before the changes, which would be 11/10. So let's do 11/9. Okay, let's do compare. Let's do start date. We will do 11/9. End date 11/9 versus today, which is November 28th. I'm sorry, it's not today, it was yesterday, the most recent day that we have on file. However, that's a Sunday versus a Tuesday, so I don't like that. So let's do last Sunday, or the Sunday before the changes. I think that's fair, right? You don't want to compare like a Sunday versus a Tuesday because different traffic comes in on Sunday. Okay, so I went ahead, just so you don't have to watch, and opened up every one of the searches in a separate tab. Okay, so every single one of them, I did the Sunday right before the changes, and then for this one, I did the most recent Sunday, which was yesterday, the 28th. So we have 3 weeks in between there, which I think is enough time. One thing I was worried about was maybe an initial tanking. I see that a lot when I do a re-index or a content update, even when the site is better, I think objectively. Sometimes Google is like, hey, what's going on? They want to kind of bump it down just to see if things are still the way they are. They don't want us to do like a bait and switch where we get a ton of traffic to an article and then send it to something completely irrelevant, right? So I think that they do have a little bit of that, and I will see if that happened or not. So the first page right here, all right, this is the big one that I told you has a ton of searches, tons of impressions, but it means very little to me in terms of value, so I was okay with it going either way. But it looks like it did go up in everything except for average CTR. I say up. When I say up, I mean good, a good thing. But really for average position, down is what we're looking for. We're trying to go down to number 1. So that's the only one that's a little bit weird. But everything is looking as an improvement except for average CTR, which is strange because when you go down closer to 1, your CTR should always go up. So what probably happened here is the additional impressions actually made it better. So we made up for a slightly lower CTR with more impressions. So that's interesting. That was not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be mostly a CTR increase across the board. So assuming that all of the page positions stayed the same, I was expecting that the CTR would go up. So this is kind of an outlier. This is already changing what I was expecting. More impressions. So that's kind of showing that there was an SEO impact of using that headline. And it wasn't just an emotional, like people are more attracted to this title. So that's interesting. So this did net us an extra 151 clicks for that day. I'm not positive what it looks like across the full 7-day window. And that's pretty interesting to me. That's cool. All right, off to a fun start. Next, this is the how to know if you're shadow banned on TikTok post. So average position stayed exactly the same, which is awesome because that gives me a really good idea now of what did that title change do to CTR. And it bumped the CTR up 0.3%. So for me, that makes me think that, okay, this headline did make an impact in terms of people wanting to click it more. It got an extra 13 clicks per day, and it got an extra 280 impressions per day. So that's cool. Very cool that they have the exact same average position. All right, next, YouTube channel without showing your face. This one did well too. This is actually an article that I actually do value. It is a good article for me. So before, the average position, remember the average position is going to be on, or the original's on top, new one's on bottom. Position went down almost 2.5 spots, which is huge. The CTR went up, which is great. Now keep in mind when the position goes down, the CTR should go up So I'm not positive how much of that was because of the new position and how much was because of the headline. But there's a clear SEO impact here, 1.2 thousand impressions versus 496. So we more than doubled our impressions and we tripled our clicks. So that is very cool. I'm feeling really good about this so far. Okay, this is the first one that's looking like we might have done a little bit of damage. This is really interesting because our position got destroyed. We went down almost 7 spots, but we got more clicks somehow. Again, like the other one, we went down spots but made up for it with impressions. I think we started ranking for like some more semantic terms. So again, I'm really starting to be surprised by the CoSchedule's SEO impact. I was not expecting there to be much of an SEO impact, but the fact that they do include the SEO score and that we did actually try to improve it, like for this one, let's go check the spreadsheet. Original headline score was actually already pretty good. Original SEO score was 77. We did not improve our SEO score. All we improved here was our headline score. So that is interesting. That is very interesting. The fact that we only dropped 3.2% on CTR with that position rank makes me feel good too, because it makes me think that we were maybe dinged by Google for the new content and it's probably going to trend up. So I'll keep an eye on this one. But again, 4 more clicks. If I really wanted to break it down further, and I will after I get off this, I'll come down here and look at some of these things like the CTR difference between terms. So I can filter by which one's got the biggest changes and which one's got the, most new clicks, which one's lost clicks, right? Next article, this one went down in position, which is great. It went up in CTR, which is great. It went up in clicks, and it went up in impressions. That's the quotes for haters one. And then finally, this one did not get enough data to really say much. It was not an article that had a ton of impressions. So we did actually go down, which means that the CTR should have also gone up, and it did not. So this is the only one that makes me think that CoSchedule Headline Analyzer harmed it at all. But also that is not enough data. There's too much space for randomness there. So I'll have to keep an eye on this one, give it at least... Actually, let's go ahead and let's give it a bigger window so we can really see. All right, let's say compare that to the 10. All right, let's compare 11.7 to 10. And then let's compare 25 to 28. So that will give us a 3-day window there. And let's see if that change is actually reflective of what really happened. Yeah, so it didn't change CTR much. It should have gone up just a tiny bit, because when you change positions between 5 and 5, or when you change between 5.6 and 5.1, you'd want to see a tiny little tweak in CTR. But again, that's just not enough impressions still to really get a good gauge. So that's the only one that I'm thinking maybe that one wasn't beneficial. But that's pretty good. We were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 out of 6 were conclusively positive, I'd say. And then the 6th was just maybe not. So we'll come back. I'll come back to that one. I'm not going to make it part of this video. All right, this is the TubeBuddy example, and this is the one that I think excites me the most because it tells me that this tool has value for YouTubers. With TubeBuddy, you can create these A and B tests, and I'm going to start creating them for all of my videos on this channel and my previous channel. It is more valuable, obviously, when you have a lot of views. So that's why we did this one that gets a ton of views. And it did give me a statistically significant result from the variation, which is 97.88% certainty that it's going to beat the original. So that means it got a ton of impressions and it got enough data to really decide what was actually going to make a difference and what wasn't. So we can see all this cool stuff. Big thing that I'm looking for, though, is that average click-through rate. That shows us, did the headline help in terms of getting visitors to click? Because that's the only thing we tested was the headline. We didn't test the thumbnail. We didn't test anything else, just the headline. Impressions to clicks. We actually did get more impressions, which is also cool. So that means that there was a positive SEO impact. The variation, 24.9 second average watch time, which is not really, nothing really to take from that. Almost an extra second. I mean, it's better than nothing, but that's, it's cool. Pretty much the same. The video content is about the same. Daily clicks, looks like I beat it pretty much every day. Well, maybe not. Average view duration was 232, so it actually went down a little bit, which is unique. Total views went up. Estimated watch time total went up. Cool. And then down here, this is the SEO impact that I want to be looking at. How many views were driven from YouTube search results? We were shown more in Google search results, which makes me happy because that means that there was a positive SEO impact. All right, guys, that is it. So I think that there's enough data that suggests that this tool is pretty solid, especially at scale. I'm going to do it more in depth, and I'm going to use another tool. I wish I had known about it when I started doing this. It's called ClickFlow, and ClickFlow lets you actually create split tests, run them in Google. So it's going to show the variations. It's going to show the headline A and then headline B, and it runs them at the same time. So we can really get a better idea, because there might be some things like some seasonality might come into play. There's a lot of different variables. So if you're watching this and you're like a professional at running tests, I apologize if I made any mistakes. I did my best, I promise. But I'm excited with these results. So if you're interested, go check them out. CoSchedule's Headline Studio. It is a nice little tool, and I picked it up for like $99 for the whole year when it was on sale, and I'm happy with it. I'll upgrade next year. All right, I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching as always.